That's what makes me stand out maybe from a lot of the cafes, is that I was involved in the coffee business from a very young age, and I was a frontliner. I was working as a student, as a part-time barista in a cafe, and that did not start easy. I had to go through, let's say, the dirt of it.
Welcome to the Daily Coffee Pro by Map It Forward, friends. I'm your host, Lee Safar, and this is a brand new episode, our very last series for 2023. And joining me for episode 1 of this 5-part series is Zainab Al Mousawi. Zainab, you are the founder of To the Moon and Back in Dubai. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Lee. It's a pleasure to be on the podcast for the second time.
Yes, welcome back to the podcast. Your first time on the podcast was during World of Coffee Dubai. And
Yes.
World of Coffee Dubai is happening again in a few weeks from when this episode airs. What are you looking forward to about that time of year here in Dubai? Because it's fun.
It is fun. I've definitely was treated well, being live and doing the podcast and meeting you live. You gave me a lot of treats, some really delicious coffee from Australia and some goodies.
That was all for Stitch Coffee. Shout out to Nawar.
Yes.
He'll be back. He'll be back for this World of Coffee.
Yeah, that was delicious. And I am really looking forward to understanding the progress in the market, especially now after all of the craze of COVID and what we were all going through at the time, to see what's the progress that happened all around the world and in comparison to what's happening around Dubai when it comes to coffee, to the coffee business.
Yeah.
And of course, to always meet and network with business owners across the world. It's such a fun place to be.
It really is.
I love my coffee people.
And we love you, my dear. You are sort of an honorary Australian as well. We got you for 10 years in Melbourne. We weren't lucky enough to have you in Sydney, but you spent a long time in Melbourne, and that's kind of where you got your love for coffee, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. That's where I had my first cup of coffee. Well, not first cup of coffee, but the first cup of coffee that I appreciated. And that's when I was like, my palate is developed now to drink coffee. So that was in Melbourne in 2008.
Way back when. And you now own To the Moon and Back, which is based in Dubai. And in this series, we're going to talk about what it's like to open your own cafe. A lot of people think that it's just so easy, and it's the thing that you do when you want to take life easy. It's not, is it, Zainab?
It's not at all. I think it's a blessing and a curse. For me personally, that's why I always say,
friends, World of Coffee Dubai is back in 2024, and I am proud to announce that the Daily Coffee Pro by Map It Forward will be the official podcast partner for World of Coffee Dubai for the second year in a row. The Roasters Village will be a one-of-a-kind destination for all things coffee. As an exhibitor, introduce your artisanal roasts to an international audience and gain valuable insights from their perspective. Visitors, immerse yourself in the celebratory coffee culture experience by sampling exclusive cups poured with passion from cafes worldwide, and absorb insights that will elevate your own appreciation of all things coffee. Whether you brew coffee or just love savoring a fine cup, this event gathers the global coffee community under one roof in an amazing city. Join us at World of Coffee Dubai in 2024 at Dubai World Trade Center from the 21st until the 23rd of January. Tickets are available at dubai.worldofcoffee.org, or you can contact us on social media for any questions that you might have at mapitforward.coffee. Get your tickets now, folks. Come see the podcast being recorded live, and we hope to see you in January in Dubai for World of Coffee.
That's what makes me stand out maybe from a lot of the cafes, is that I was involved in the coffee business from a very young age, and I was a frontliner. I was working as a student, as a part-time barista in a cafe, and that did not start easy. I had to go through, let's say, the dirt of it. I had to deal with the customers on daily basis, angry customers, happy customers, regulars, new people, confused people, trying to understand them and trying to entertain them at the same time, because, people sometimes interact with the barista like their therapist. So you have to cater yourself basically to everybody that you come across, and such interesting personalities that you come across. And you need to be able to also deal with the day-to-day problems that may arise in a cafe, from cleaning the dishes. You have to be willing to be an all-rounder. You need to be open to cleaning the dishes, cleaning the floors, helping your team members, dealing with problems that may arise. Like, let's say the coffee machine broke. How are you going to deal with that? The pipe burst. How are you going to deal with that? You can't just go oh, I just make coffee and that's my role. So I think I was lucky to be able to go through all of that at the time. That helped me understand the business perspective from A to Z, not just owning a business and not just running or having a number of staff that runs the business for me. But yeah, so that's it's definitely a tough job if you're gonna do it on your own.
So in this series, as we explore your kind of life as what it's like to open a cafe, we're going to talk specifically about what that's like in the Emirates. We're both now based in the Emirates. Both kind of, I'm an actual Australian, you're an honorary Australian. We both have the same context about the coffee industry. Yeah. And today in this episode, we're going to talk about the coffee scene in Dubai, because it's a very unique kind of coffee scene if you look at the coffee scene in Australia and the vibe in Melbourne and in Sydney. So why don't you help us understand, give us a landscape of what the coffee scene is like in Dubai?
The coffee scene in Dubai, let's say compared to Australia, is very, very new. It's still got a long way to go. Regardless of how many cafes we have, regardless of how many roasteries are opening, we are a niche market. We have a lot to learn from. We have a lot to learn about actually sustaining a business, growing it strategically, and maintaining the growth. And it's the coffee business is ever growing. We're going through a lot of issues around the world that are affecting we have droughts that are affecting how much coffee beans that we're getting. We are going through unfortunately some wars that are affecting coffees reaching us from different places of the world, the shipment cost, the air freight cost, the labor cost, and all of that. So these are all factors that I think we are pretty new to, and we need time to educate the mass about all of these issues and how to deal with them. So we're maybe still here, and compared to the rest of the world. It's fun to have a cafe. It's fun to have multiple places and spaces that we can go and hang with our friends and just drink coffee and socialize, but it is much more than that. There are multiple layers that especially coffee, business owners and hopefully also the consumers need to be aware of for sure. But compared to the rest of the world, yeah, we still need some time.
Talk to me about the coffee consumer, because the Emirates, and we're going to talk more about the Emirates in the next episode, but I guess Dubai, more than anywhere, has solved one problem that no other coffee consuming country has solved, and that is that Dubai knows how to charge for coffee, and the consumers are happy to pay it. So talk to me about the coffee consumer in Dubai.
I mean, you'll be surprised. Coffee was not cheap when I was in Copenhagen just 2 months ago. It was almost the same, if not more, at certain places, the price-wise. And for a flat white, it would cost 30 dirhams, for a cup of coffee. Which a lot of the coffee shops in the UAE and across the world as well are going to, are heading towards this like increase of the coffee prices, given the factors that I mentioned earlier.
Just for context, folks, 30 dirham is about almost 15 Australian dollars.
Yeah.
Almost. Somewhere between 12 Australian dollars. So the exchange rate is 4. So yeah, it's about 12, 4 to 1.
Sure. Yeah, which is a ridiculous amount of
when you think about it,
a cup of coffee.
Right? Like, the context of what it costs for a coffee in Sydney. Do you think anywhere in Sydney and Melbourne is going to charge $12 for a latte?
I don't think $12 for a latte, no. But what are the prices now? It's been a year. It's been 2 years since I've been to Australia. Yeah, $5. Yeah, it will take a lot. Like, you need a larger, like what do they call it, grande, to actually like pay $12. But even that, I think it would be $8.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So it's a huge difference, and we're not talking about like, it's not every like 1 in 30 cafes is charging that, folks. Like, that's amongst specialty coffee cafes. It's pretty standard.
Yeah. But like here in the UAE particularly, I guess because a lot of things, like it's the price is high amongst a wide range of products. It's not like, a sandwich would cost a cheap amount of money and then the coffee alone, it's going to be very expensive. No, everything is kind of like more or less expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So there is already this expectation from the consumer that, yes, it does cost this much for me to grab a cup of coffee and a sandwich or like a donut or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So life is kind of expensive in a way. So I guess this is why people don't generally mind paying that much. But then there you have certain cafes that are charging a little bit more extra, and they have their own clientele compared to the rest of the cafes, for example. And then their clientele won't mind paying this extra, let's say 5 dirhams or like an extra buck for this cafe, because it's almost like they have their own followers and then they like the way it's being prepared, or they just like simply like being in that cafe.
Mm-hmm.
But generally, I don't think, again, we have, with no offense to anyone, I think we still, our consumers lack the knowledge about how much it costs for a business owner to produce a cup of coffee, like this end product.
Mm-hmm.
From the bean, from the price of the cup, from the price of the labor work that goes into preparing this cup of coffee for you, the rent, the electricity, and everything else. Like, when you add everything up, it comes to like a really expensive, and you have to be smart and fair about the margin that you're putting at the end of the day, so that you won't be at a loss, and at the same time you won't overcharge your customers. But this understanding, I doubt that that it exists on this level. With
they
our
certainly know
consumers.
about coffee. They certainly know what they like or what they don't like. Like, I've seen consumers come in and ask very specifically for specific coffees, and they know what they don't like. There is a huge V60 drinking culture here. I mean, you don't get that anywhere else. Most cafes do not, around the world, do not want to serve V60s because they take so long. Here,
yeah,
every other person's ordering a V60. It's a part of the culture here.
I guess so, which is a really nice thing to see, because if you think 10 years ago, let's say, there was a different, like, cafes did exist, but our consumers did not, the coffee consumers did not have that much understanding. Like, this is why I'm telling you, like, the growth is happening steadily, but we're still like, we need a lot to learn and to grow and to educate our mass. 10 years ago, again, let's say, they did not understand about the different variety of beans, for example, or like what makes, or like what a Q grading mean. Why is this coffee called specialty coffee? Why aren't we using the same beans that any other commercial coffee place is using? Or Why can't we use the coffee beans that are packed in the supermarket, for example? Why are we charging extra compared to a local commercial coffee place? So all of these things now the consumer is aware about. They know the different machines that are being used and why are we using this kind of grinder. Some consumers are aware of like the different kinds of burrs that go into different grinders, which is fascinating. Before, like years ago, they wouldn't know about all of these things. So yeah, they didn't care. So this assists the customers to understand their needs better and to know, why do I go to this cafe compared to this other cafe? And it's not just about hopping from one cafe to the other. No, I understand the quality that I'm getting. I understand why I'm paying this much for this cup of coffee compared to that cup of coffee. And I find myself leaning towards this because it, clicks with my needs or what I need or like what I like to consume or whatever. So there is a better understanding for sure in terms of our consumers, but there's still much more to understand, especially with the changing climate when it comes to coffee. They need to understand like what's happening behind the scenes, why prices are going up, why certain beans are more expensive than other beans, for example.
Yeah. In the next episode, we're going to take a deep dive into kind of more of what the coffee scene is like across the entire Emirates. Mostly we're going to be comparing Dubai and Abu Dhabi. I'm in Abu Dhabi at the moment and I have been fascinated by what I've seen. So join us for the next episode, folks, as we explore what it's like to open a cafe here in the United Arab Emirates. Peace, love, and peanut butter. Have an amazing rest of your day. Thanks, friends. If you enjoyed this video, here's what you should check out next. Consider supporting Map It Forward on Patreon and be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell before you leave.